What happened to the cool kids from your school after they graduated? Coolest kid in my school was one of those charismatic prodigies. He got full ride scholarships, he partied with the jocks, played magic with the nerds, talked to me about building computers and always kicked my ass at Counter-Strike, and he played 4 instruments before he was 15. I think he got a degree in chemical engineering, then went back for 1 year to get a music theory degree too. Then after 5 years of working he decided that he wanted to be a doctor, so he went back to med school and eventually started his own practice. Fucking dude had cheat codes on. One of those people you just kind of wish would go into politics. Their rapping careers never took off, I'm afraid. One is dead, one is doing life in the federal pen for running a meth ring. The rest are just living the standard issue small town life. One went to jail for drug possession with intent to sell. One dropped out of college and works at a mall kiosk, and other quit his cushy corporate job and started a non-profit that provides shelter, food and job resources to homeless single mothers and their children. I think most of them have done very well. One of them, the best looking, most athletic boy in my school, died from ALS several years ago. That really rocked me for some reason. I didn't even really know the guy. He was cool, but he seemed like a decent person. They all jumped up in the air while walking off campus and froze mid-air. The cool bully kid who bullies me in high school asked me last year if I have a job for him. Most of them got into Ivy League schools, top private schools, and then landed 6-figure jobs after graduation in big cities. Since I wasn't one of the cool kids, I don't have any contact with people from high school. Bald. I'm bald. Well, the captain of the cheerleading squad left after graduation, but only long enough to go to university and get a teaching degree. She came back to the school as a teacher, became the faculty advisor for the cheerleading squad, and recently retired. So, she stayed in high school for 30 years. They all got fake tits, married old bald guys for a few years, popped out a kid or two, then took off with half his money. Now they drink way too much wine, post about how being a stay-at-home mom is the hardest job ever, and have leather skin and try to sell me makeup on FB. They are all addicts from what I've heard. I guess that's what happens when you start doing drugs at 14. It's unfortunate. They could have done so much, you know? They stayed in our same boring town, in the same relationships, had babies at 18 or 19, joined MLMs, and are now flooding my social media inboxes with messages that start out with, "Hey girl, it has been too long," and end with, "Would you like to host a party by my shit?" The losers now look like modern day hipsters and the cool kids look like modern day criminals. Half of them ended up pretty good or okay, I'd say. The other half are either unemployed or work at the gas station or supermarket, which is totally fine, but I feel they could have done more. Half of them sell crack, the other are SoundCloud rappers who smoke in mall stairwells. You figure out real soon being cool in high school doesn't mean much. Emotionally stunted addicts with numerous kids and no way or desire to support them. I think 2 of them actually moved off to college, didn't go crazy, graduated, got married, and are leading productive lives. Some of them became well-adjusted adults with successful careers and are very happy in life. Others though became total train wrecks. The group of girls I used to hang out with that were considered edgy and cool ended up being complete shitshows with serious alcohol and addiction problems. A lot of them suffer from crippling mental health issues as well. It's really sad actually, BC they had so much promise and potential. I hope they get the help they need. One of them was just bragging on Facebook about making more than $11 per hour, so Jamie had a chance. Well, she really did. Instead she dropped out and had a couple of kids. Mark still lives at home cause he's got no job, he just plays guitar and smokes a lot of pot. Jay committed suicide. Brandon OD'd and died. What the hell is going on? The cruelest dream. Reality. They got everything. The homecoming queen never went to college, went to the right bars instead, married rich and has a house that could be on a soap opera with a ton of land. She doesn't work. Awful lot of salesmen in the hometown. 90% of them are dead by drug overdose. I wasn't close to being a cool kid in school. I always say that if they were to do a reunion it would have to be at the cemetery. Sad but true. As far as I can tell, most of them went off to college, married each other, and moved back to our stereotypical new money southern WASP suburb. The guys sell real estate, sell insurance or sell cars. The girls are mainly nurses, interior designers, or also in real estate. They all look the same and they all still hang out together. Prom king died of an overdose at 30. Homecoming queen ran over a little kid in her car a year after graduation. She went to jail for a year or two. Most of the other cool kids went to college, got normal jobs, and have pretty decent lives, or so it seems. Good looking spouses, nice homes, nice cars, a couple kids, etc. Saw a couple of them on Schmacked a couple years ago. Saw one who I was actually good friends with in middle school on campus and said hi. She completely ignored me, just like she had ignored my message offering to hang out when she transferred to my college. Saw another one and she literally asked me what time it was but didn't recognize me. Our valedictorian was in all the sports. She got married to another girl. Beyond that, most seemed to have gotten very boring jobs. They all became Instagram influencers. The meat grinder ate them. Foregone in special forces operations. The other kids only thought they were cool. Well, there were the actually cool kids who are now happy, successful people, with fulfilling lives, and then there were the not really cool kids who are in MLMs, engaged to convicted child molesters, or in prison for killing one of their kids while driving super high and drunk with 3 other small children in the car. The actually cool kids were kind to everyone, and everyone liked them because of it. The not actually cool kids took the stereotype to heart and lived it out, unfortunately. One got hit by a car and died. One became a famous movie actor who I'm sure most people recognize. I'm in my 50s, so some of the cool kids, along with the regular kids, have died of one thing or another. The ones who had wealthy parents are, as far as I know, still wealthy, either from learning the family business or through inheritance, or a combination of the two. Some of the women are still quite good looking, while some are not. Most of the guys are fat and or bald, although one guy moved out west where the sun shines and started a business that involves a lot of physical labor. He hasn't gotten fat or bald, but his skin is more sun damaged than average. As far as careers are concerned, I would say all of them have fared better than me, but that's a pretty low bar to hop over. Most had kids a few years out of high school. A reality of drug addicts. Like, a lot. In high school, our cool kids are actually smart and talented. Most of them are in med school and law school, and some of them are now successful in their respective fields. Who knows? I didn't keep in touch with them. I hope they all got their dicks caught in their zippers. If there were an action movie, it would have been titled Preg in 60 Seconds. I'm doing okay. All 3 girls got pregnant, and overweight, not from pregnancy. One guy entered the drug business, money laundered and now driving a fancy ass car. He was poor ASF before, so I feel conflicted about this one. One is a semi-pro footballer, one is a model, yeah, that's about it. They look back at their glory days and wonder where it all went. 12 years of constant adulation from their peers, parents and teachers all came to a screeching halt one evening in June. And just like that, it was over. A few are anti-vax moms. Which is honestly the worst. Where we live, it's easy to fall into drugs, so a lot of the popular kids went that way. Lastly, our top athlete, who was super smart, dropped out of UC Davis to have a walk with Guy. Haven't heard anything from him since. They all joined the army together. One is a paratrooper, the others are either Armored Corps or Air Force. One of them was in the medics course with me. They are all fairly happy and much nicer than I had remembered. They still meet up every now and then. Selling MLM garbage on Facebook. Former class president is an amateur stand-up comedian. It's painful to watch. 3 kids by 3 different dads and a meth addiction happened. Most got pregnant. They had a great future in plastics. Some went off to university, some community college. Some would later drop out and start getting into hoodlum stuff I would up seeing via the local news, military, or just started working at the shipyard in our area I suppose. This is the general gist of what happens to people from my home city. One was in Forbes a few years ago due to her online pet store company being successful. One's an actor and was in a couple movies. One was in porn for a little while. Not sure about the rest. Marky got with Sharon and Sharon got Charisse. She was sharing Sharon's outlook on the topic of disease. Mikey had a facial scar and Bobby was a rapist. They were all in love with dying. They were doing it in Texas. How to say this? Drinking a lot of beer over a long period of time has a tremendous effect on the physical form. Both suicided. 13 years apart. I was working casually one year as a Santa photographer when a couple of girls brought their kids in for photos. We'd left high school about 2 years prior. All of them were single stay-at-home mums with no future. I was studying at uni and had big plans ahead. A lot of them married each other and the majority stayed in that city. Someone is organizing the 20-year reunion and I have no intention of going. I'm in the FB group just to see how fat everyone got. Had babies, still the same shitty person. Fuck if I know. Most of them ended up in the squatters lifestyle. Became artists and so on. Some became good parents, some not so good. His dream of joining the Air Force and becoming a badass fighter pilot was dashed when he failed the physical. After that, don't know. They all got pregnant at 17/18 and are struggling now to support their family. Or they all got fat and realized that cool isn't a career choice. She became a TikTok star. Don't know. Don't care. Various stages of drug addiction, mostly addicts, rehab, or posting cliche stuff on social media about living that blessed life, typical people that peaked in high school. My friend who was also my bully in grade school, good times, became a trashy mom with an uninteresting life. Every single cool kid just parties all night and works minimum wage jobs in retail or some shit. Some of my friends were friends with them, so I get the occasional update. Living with their parents and all such. 2 of them got felonies, one for vehicular manslaughter and is doing time, another for felony trespass and criminal mischief. Another one has 2 DUIs under her belt. You could say they really made the most of their dreams to be successful. Valedictorian went to school to become an elementary school teacher. This past year was her first one teaching. From what I heard, she doesn't want to go back. Of the ones who did graduate, one committed criminal damage to property, knocked up some woman 10 years his senior, and then started going bald. The other has been arrested 5 times for DWI, and convicted of at least 2, and probably a 3rd. In this state, the 4th is a felony. He was actually on trial for 2 separate DWIs at once. He also hasn't held a valid driver's license in nearly a decade. One girl works in a strip club now. One of the cliques still have their bonfire parties. Some of them are in decent colleges but with easy majors. One is a bartender. One high school is married now. The girl was a talented girl. She ended up having a baby, and the guy, well, who knows what he does for money. He was always smoking weed. The girl is always trying to be a YouTube vlog mom. And another mom was an attractive girl but had a baby and is trying to be a viral mom on social media. Many of the athletes who thought were big shots go to local uni but nothing impressive, and others lost scholarships due to sexual activities with underage girls. They always had their thinking with the wrong head. The remainder are still in school pursuing their degree like me. Knocked out her sophomore year of college while working at Hooters. Dropped out, had another kid. No idea what happened long term. She was a straight A student in high school, going to private university because her parents had money. It's crazy how she wasted those opportunities. MacLeod of mirth. At my school, all of the popular kids were well-rounded individuals. The ones I still see on Facebook seem to be doing well. In my experience, the bitchy and mean popular kids were in middle school and they were not popular in high school. I don't know what happened to them. The same thing that happened to us nerds. 30 years on and we're not any different than them. Many of them, maybe half, developed drug addictions. A portion of them are dead. I bumped into one like 5 years back. Still super beautiful, still really nice. She seemed to be doing very well from our short chat. They became homeless or jobless cause they never studied. They always banged chicks and skipped classes. I turned out alright, decent job and skill set. I just can't help being so fucking cool. A huge majority of my classmates, assholes and cool kids, these two often become each other, ended up working in finance, real estate, and or some kind of sales role. It's really strange to see. Meanwhile, a lot of the more geeky or nerdy guys, myself included, ended up becoming engineers, taking on roles in the science field. I'm still studying my masters, but I'm aiming to work as an exercise physiologist when I'm done.